This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Chof Hey, and of learning this month. The month of Tevis has been generously sponsored as a Schos Aliyas Neshama for Rabbi Yelib and Rav Yaakov Yisiyata Dishmaya the Koyach HaTorah. Talmud Torah Berabim should bring Rabbi Yelib and Rav Yaakov an incredible Aliyas Neshama as his Neshama goes closer to the Kisei HaKavod. As well as the learning should be an incredible schos refuah, continued refuah shlema for Tinaik ben Mir Mehuva Baruch Hashem. The baby was able to come home, and b'siyata d'shmaya, we should continue seeing improvements and refuahs, ultimately culminating in the refuah shlema b'karev. We're holding on the bottom of Chav Daled Amud Beis. We began a Mishnah. We can label this actually a famous Mishnah, as the Mishnah deals with gambling and the like. So we begin the Gemara, and the Gemara begins with the first paslos in the Mishnah, which was Misachik Ba'kovia, one who plays with dice. Says the Gemara, Misachik Ba'kovia, my Kovid. What did he do wrong? Omar Rabbi Bar Chama, Mishamnave Asmachta. And those are the key words in this sugya, because there is a reliance. Ve'asmachta loy kanya. And a reliance is not kaina. Let's take a moment to look at Rashi. Rashi explains, asmachta is what? Hainu davar deinu noisin loy midaitoi. Something that one does not give with his full knowledge. Elasoymich al davar she'einoi. That what? Disaver he thinks you yachalin not seyach. So anytime money is put down and one thinks, I'm not going to have to give it. I'm yachal l'natzeach. I'm able to prevail. Upa'amim, and at times shemenatzchen oisai loy kanya. And therefore, what's the problem? V'hava lekein gezila biyadai. It's as if it's a form of stealing. Rav Sheshes Amar says Rav Sheshes a second reason. Kol ki agavna lav asmachta. No, says Rav Sheshes not asmachta. So why is such a person pasal leidus? He's not dealing with the world's general continuance, as we will see exactly what this means a little bit further. But simply, you're not doing anything worthwhile. You're not doing anything to better the world, etc. Says the Gemara, "My beinayu." What's the chilik between these two teruts of Rav Chama and Rav Sheshes? Explains the Gemara, beinayu the Gamar umnasei achriti. When he has another omnis, according to Rav Chama, he's still puzzle because the ma'isas machtal lekanya. According to Rav Sheshes, if he has another omnis, then he is Isaac b'yeshuva shalaylam. Then he will not be puzzle. Tanan, we have a raya to Rav Sheshes and Rav Yehuda, the end of the Mishnah. Ema say when you pass one shin them omnis elo avliim shem omnis elo. If he has a different omnis, ksherim yukash. Alma, what do we see on the first wide line? Time of the masih mishum mishiv shalaylam. Kash the Rabbi Chama says Gemara. So kash to Rabbi Chama. Chite, maybe you're going to tell me, please, Rabbi later, Rav Yehuda. Maybe this is the machlokes. Maybe Rav Yehuda at the end of the Mishnah is coming to add on the chiddush of omnis. But maybe the Tanakhama disagrees. Says Gemara, you can't say that. Rav Shimon Levi, call Makayim Sha'amar Rav Yehuda. Whenever Rav Yehuda says, what? As we turn over to Chavei Amar Aleph, learning a klal in the verbiage, in the words of Rav Yehuda, teaches the Gemara. Anytime Rav Yehuda says, Emasai, anytime Yehuda says, when, Ubama, with what, then, he's coming to explain the words of the Chacham, so we can't say that they're arguing. The word Emasai is explaining. Ubama, that's lachlik. Udekule alma. But everyone agrees Emasai lefarish. Sure, everyone agrees Emasai is to explain. So in our Mishnah, Rav Yehuda is certainly explaining the shita of the Chachamim. And therefore I asked the Gemara, Kasha Rabbi Chama. We have a beautiful raya of Sheshes. It all has to do with Yeshiva Shalaylam. Answers the Gemara 4 lines down. Chavayim and Aleph. Gavra Karamis. You're asking a stira Rabbi Chama and Rav ben Levi. Mar Savar Piligi Umar Savar Loi Pligi. Rabbi Chama holds that Imasai means what? That they're arguing. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi holds or not. V'loi pligi, really, Vatanya. Bein sheish lo omnes, bein sheish lo omnes loihu, bein she'ein lo omnes elu, arizah basel. We see that either way it's basel. Answers Gemara, here Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Rav Tarfon, Tanya. Rabbi Yehuda Mishum Rav Tarfon, la'ila min echad mehem nazir lafish lanit naziras ela lafla. In a similar vein, Rabbi Yehuda teaches b'shem Rav Tarfon a din about naziris. Someone says, Arini Nazir, if the person that comes is a Nazir, and he says, I am a Nazir if he is not a Nazir. So what do we see? We see that it becomes a Nazir. Says the Gemara, no, because it's Elalafla. It has to be very clear. That's the only way there's going to be Nazirus. So Rav Tarfon holds that anything that has an element that it's not you, that's going to be an asmachta. And that's who the Mishnah, the Chum are going to go like in the Mishnah. We continue, we're about 10 lines down to the 2 dots for the next case in the Mishnah. Malve beribis amai rava. Loive beribis, on who lends with ribis, basalei this. Ay, vanantan malve beribis. Says the Gemara, milve haba beribis. It's talking about the loan itself that comes with interest, which of course includes the malve and the love, the lender and the borrower. Says the Gemara, story bar, benitos. As he do ba trei sadi, 2 witnesses testified against him. Chadamar kamiditi oizev beribita. One said in front of me, he lent with the ribis. Chadamar lididi oizev to the riba. He lent it to me. Says the Gemara, pasle Rava lebar benitis. Because of these 2 eidim, Rava said bar benitis must have at some level lent money beribis, so he's pasul. Asks the Gemara, wait, for Ravu damar leiva beribis pasul eidos. Favali Russia. Wait, if a leiva beribis is possible, then he himself is becoming a Russia. Vatayramra al tashes Russia aid. So how could he give? How can we accept such a testimony? Answers Gemara. Rava l'taimei Amar Rava Adam Karov Atzolin on the Mesim Atzei Rashi is considered a Karov. Therefore, we do not believe his eidos. Why? Because in the Misas Rasha, person cannot make himself into a Rasha, and therefore the second guy is not believed, and that's the reason why we're disqualifying Ben Benitas based on the first one's Eidos. Says the Gemara, another story. There was a butcher, Dishkakach, Denafka Treifsa, Mituse Yade, who was found that there was treif animals that he's selling as kash. Pasle Rav Nachman said he's pasal va'avrei. And Rav Nachman said, you can no longer be the town butcher. Ozil Rebbe, Mazeh Viturfei. The Ozil, he went, Rabbi Mazeh, he grew his hair, Viturfei, and his fingernails, meaning, not Ozil Rebbe. Ozil, he went a butcher. Rabbi Mazeh Viturfei, grew his hair and his fingernails as a sign of tshuva. So Rav Nachman Shure, so Rav Nachman felt okay, could be kosher. Amle Rava, how do you know? Damle Rumi Kamari, maybe just tricking us. Elamaita Kante, Ravivi Baravin. What's the kind like other read Baravin? Ha Choshod ala Trefos, in Litakona, ad Sheyelech Lamagu Chain Makirma. Say, not just stam a little bit of tshuva. He has to go somewhere that no one knows him. V'yachzer Aveda B'davar HaChoshov. And return Aveda something of value. Or that's be a similar scenario that a treifa came out where you lost money. Meaning the only tshuva is going to be if you're back in that situation and you deal with it appropriately, but stam, regular figures, regular methodologies of tshuva will not work. We continue 10 lines to the bottom of the 2 dots, Mafrichi Yavanim, pigeon, or Yainim, pigeon flyers. Says the Gemara, what is this? Mafrichi Yainim? If your pigeon is for mine, I'll give you some money. My time, excuse me, Rav Chama bar Oishya Amar Ara. Chama bar Oishya says it's a pigeon decayer is the word, I believe, which means he ties the pigeons to a string and they fly up and no further. They chirp, they attract other pigeons, and then they could trap them. It's a pigeon flyer to attract pigeons. So, according to the first opinion, that has to do with yours comes before mine. My time, why did he say the second opinion? Darki Shalom Ba'alma. This Ara issue is only us because of Darki Shalom, but it's not actual Gzela. So what's the nafkamina? Won't passel you leidus. 5 lines to the bottom, the Gemara flips it around as always. Zuman Amar Ara, my Temla Amar. Itikani Yanach Leah. And why did he say the other opinion? Amlacha. Cause I know Misachah Bekavya. That's regular betting. That's the first case of the Mishnah. It's Misachah Bekavya. V'edachtana Teleb Das Atzmai V'tayna B'das Yoinai. The other Tana holds is 2 different cases. One is where you're betting on your own. One is you're betting on another object, on this pigeon. We have to say both of them. Why? Because you think you're going to win, as we read the first Rashi. He says, when we turn over to Chaveim and Beis, and we really start to see some of the svaras of gambling, of betting, and their issue. Damar, he says, I know how to win this game. The Adina Tfei. I know that I'm better than my opponent. So therefore, there is that asmach that he thinks he's going to win. He knows what? I can't determine, I can't change which bird is going to win. I would have thought, I would have thought, I could bang more, I could urge on the pigeon. I have a way of making you win. Milsa. But I know how to do it. Maybe there's no way to win it. That's the reason why we needed both cases. But you start to see the flavor of some of the different svaras in the world of gambling. Meisvei asked the Gemara, play with wooden cubes. They remind him the shells of pomegranates and nuts. They must say, and when is it considered tshuva to get back their kashas? Misha yashbru as pispeyam, they break their wooden cubes, and chazar gemura, and do a full chazara. Pause the Gemara 1 second. Dafilu b'chinam le'avdi. What do you mean? That what it means to say is that they won't even play for free. Not only will they not gamble, they won't even play for free. Continues the Bryce, when they do tshuva, they rip up the shtar, they return everything. Even to a guy, they don't lend. But is what? So the Bryce defines what is my fiach? Those who incite the pigeons, pigeon fighting. The tshuva is they break their clackers, the utensil that cause the chickens to fight. The filu midbar nami lo they don't even do it out in the wild. What is that? They do business shmita. The next Shvi'is, if they show and they're badal and they don't get involved, that shows they did Shuva. Says Rav Nechemya, excuse me, we're not only talking about verbally refraining, verbally saying you're not going to get involved. You have to actually return the cash. Ketzad. You take the money that you got, and then you can't give it back to him, but rather you give it to Aniyim. Says the Gemara, 10 lines at the bottom, the first word of the line is Laniyim, Kutani Mias Behema. So bish, Shalom the Mandamer. Itikabi and Aliyah, and I know the Mishachas of Behema, then we can have a case of Behema, Lamandama. The pigeon flyer, Behema Bas, Hachi, is there such a case? Says we're in Bishar Ever by a wild Shar Ukamanda Amar Shar Ever Min Behimu Ditanan Shar Ever Min Behimu Rezer Min Chaya. And verse says Min Chaya, and that's going to be the way to play in the case of Ara into the case of Behimis. Continues the Gemara Tana. Hosifa Alein the Adon Agaslanim, one who steals like Hamsanim, someone who forced someone to give him something. Gazla, Frak the Gemara, that they're apostle ladies. Gazla Daraiso. Light Sricha, Lamaitzi, Chair Shet of Ekatan, Meikara Savar, Mitzias Chair Shet of Ekatan, Lishchich, Inam the Dark Shalom Bahama, Kim the Chazi to Sof Sam Mano, the Kashakli, you're taking their money. Paslino Rabana, and Chamsani, Meikara Savar, Dami, Kayayev, Akrai Bahamu. Kiva the chazi the galchati, they're grabbing, gazu rabbanan. Tana oy, they see aleim, harayin, the shepherds, the gabayin, vam voichsin, rayim eikar, savar krai ba'amu. It just happens, give the chazi kabachamne, v'shadi the chatchila, gazu rabbanan, there was going to be a case. The rabbanan will be geyser, even on they, that they will be basala. So we'll pick it up from here, b'siyata, lishmaya.